John McCaig here. Sunday. And I said, let's do a live thing every Sunday. I'll try and get it scheduled on the schedule so you can see it on the schedule and so on. What is it? 12:43. I'm thinking noon, something like that. Still working on someone helping me with the video so we can split screen and include other people and so on. I hope to do that very soon. I'm gonna make that happen. So if you have any thoughts, questions, or whatever, you're not interrupting. I want to go into. Might as well pick a topic today. Christ consciousness. Okay. Krishna. Christ consciousness. Krishna has to say Krishna. Christ. Let's start with a quote from. Whoops. Let's start with a quote from Mayor Baba. Where was I? There I am. Whew. Okay. Let's start with a quote from Mayor Baba. And this is from avatarmayorbabatrust.org website. And this is about Sri Mayor Baba. He questions he was asked and answered. And this is number 3 on this. I don't want to lose my spot here. I'll go back and give you the title after of this work. Number 3. Number 3 in the questions here. And this is the question. And what he answered is the answer. Okay. So he was asked a question. Was Christ the only Son of God? Answer. Christ, not Jesus, was the only Son of God. By Christ is meant he who is one with the infinite, As so, all those who come to realize the ultimate reality may be said to be in the, quote, Christ state, end quote. By Jesus is meant the, quote, historical man-God of Nazareth, end quote, who attained to Christ consciousness, i.e., who gained perfection. So, see, this path that was taken by Jesus and explained that it was taken by Jesus and so on. I hope this mic is working. It seems to be working. I always get the worst time talking about God, right? The devil's in the details. I am the most hidden online individual that exists, right? With such a volume of information. Okay. So we're talking about Christ consciousness, all right? Which every individual consciousness has to achieve, because we have to go back to why is this happening? Why is this reality? Why is anything happening? Why? Until someone can answer why, you shouldn't really listen to the rest of what they have to say on why things are happening, because they don't understand like what is the actual reason that things are happening, right? God, we go into the original state of God consciousness state. We go into that state of consciousness in sleep every night, or if you take a nap, whenever. That's our restful state. That's the consciousness of. I can see this mic is working. I hope this is working. I really do. I'm not going to mute it. Okay. So we go into the original consciousness of God state. See, we're one with God. We're not separate from God. Nothing is separate from God. So everything is experiencing that it's separate from God. Why is that happening? Okay, because God, in the original state of God, is has a desire, a fancy, a whim to know self. Oh, what am I? That as God, having unlimited consciousness and everything, unlimited everything, being unlimited. God has this desire to know self, so it automatically creates this entire illusion at the same level of God, right? To fool God. Think of the illusion to fool God that God created to fool, God's self. Right? That's what we're talking about here. I hope we're talking to anyone. My God, this is like 6 minutes. Oh, maybe I'm not being heard. I guess it's possible, but I see the mic thing going up and down. Okay. Just can't ever speak to people live. It's so amazing. All right. So you go into this consciousness now, into the body and so on. This is the illusion. This is, you know, why would God create an illusion to know self? Why would that happen? This is the reason that it occurs. If you can hear me, let me know, please. This is the reason, because God is unlimited, and to limit God and then unlimit God again, that's what self. In other words, metaphor. All right, Mary, you can hear. Thank you. Fabulous. Thank you, Mary. So I'm talking about Christ consciousness. Welcome, Mary. Anything on your mind, let me know. I'm going to try to do a regular thing on Sundays, service, whatever. I'll try actually get it on the schedule to be recurring and so on. But here we are. Okay, so going into Christ consciousness, that's what I'm going into. How you go into sleep every night, and that's the original state of God where you don't have consciousness. You are unconscious, right? You don't have any consciousness. No one's there. You're not in your body. You're not here. You see, and you're not over there doing a lot, right? You're unconscious. Your consciousness is not. Nothing's happening, but that's a part of everyone. Every animal, everything sleeps, right? So you did email. I saw that, Mary, and I know we're going to be working on that. Thank you. We got limited, fixed hours, but we're going to be working on it. Thank you very much for letting me know, Mary. But hey, throw out what's on your mind here, and let's start to work on it. If we can't achieve it, we'll achieve it then. No problem. So anyway, we're talking about Christ consciousness, how every night you fall into this unconscious state. That's the original state of God. So the metaphor of why this is happening is a parrot, right? Because we find ourselves here in the parrot state, don't we? Right? We're just parroting what we're told, and then one day we're like, wait a second, everything I'm saying is a bunch of BS. So why are they telling me this? Okay, so a parrot. That's a metaphor. The parrot. A parrot who flies free in the jungle uh, doesn't understand the concept of freedom, right? It's just flying around, being a parrot. Doesn't understand anything but Joe. It's just living its existence. I go here to eat this water, right? That's what a parrot does. Okay. Just does what the other parrots are doing. That's all. So one day you take that parrot. Oh, that's a pretty bird. Lock it in a cage, shut the door, the parrot starts to wither and die, right? This is the opposite of what being a parrot is, right? This opposite, a parrot in a cage is the exact opposite of what a parrot is, right? A parrot is out there free, has no its life before it bears no resemblance to sitting in this cage. Although maybe the physical body of the parrot looks the same, the existence is night and day. So, but walk that cage right out to the jungle again. Out you go, parrot. Flies in the jungle. At that point, right? Oh, free. Oh my God, I've left the cage. And then the parrot is back to this unlimited state where it doesn't have a cage around it. So that is the metaphor to explain the process of all of existence, which is actually played out every day as sleep and waking and so on. But we don't come fully awake, as we wake up, we wake back to here. We don't wake to the state of consciousness that is, oh, I'm not separate from God. I have, Mir Baba explained it that the, really precisely is why I go to what he says a lot, because the precision is unmatched, is absolutely precise. Mir Baba means like father, right? Mir means ultimate, but it really combined, directly uh, uh, translated, sorry, is compassionate father. So, God in three parts, which is explained a lot, is God the Father, God the Son, uh, God the Holy Spirit, right? So God the Father is Mir Baba plays that role, you see. So that's, the precision there of what is said is it's always absolutely precise, So these different states of God are happening, so that because when you're in sleep, you have you're unconscious, but you don't go away. You know what I mean? Like people are afraid they're gonna die in death, and oh, there's no more of you. No, you go away every night, and you come back every time you wake up, whether it be a nap in the afternoon, you sleep at night, you come back into the body. There you are. So proving consciousness is never lost, because you like take this lifetime where you sleep, but you're back here. You're out, you're back. But you don't, when you go into that unconscious state, you don't have complete awareness of everything. You see what I'm saying? Oh, I know everything. I know there's nothing. You see, that's what you're looking for, right? In the state, you're as a being, you wanted to go into that unconscious state conscious. There's nothing separate from you. You're not going to go into the unconscious state. You don't know who you are or what's going on. You just it's just flat. You know what I mean? Like a dream before you're just resting. That's all that state of God is sort of a latent state. you know it's a state where consciousness and everything is latent within God, but it's not manifested. And so that latency of consciousness is we're asleep. Oh, there's a way. But at the end place of consciousness, you're fully conscious, whether you're in your sleep or on the other side, wherever you are. There's nothing. There's no separation. There's no veil between you and what you are. And that's what Christ consciousness is. This the veil of you experience. Oh, hey, I'm in this. I'm feeling like this limited being in this body, and that's my experience at this moment. So, of course, you're experiencing that. So, sorry, getting a little warm. Florida, get warmer. My bad. So, you're experiencing a separation from feeling that state of God, right? Because there are three main attributes. I would say I'm going to use Mirabala's way he says it because he's precise. Um, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat, like Satan, Satan, right? The one who knows, right? Knowledge. The state of God is there's nothing separate from your knowledge base. There's not something you don't know. Maybe as an individualized experience, maybe you don't connect with every individual's experience out there because it would be overwhelming. But as far as a knowledge base, there's nothing that you can't not know. That's so unlimited knowledge, right? Sat, uh, chit, power. The power of God. Nothing's limited to God's ability to do anything, and knowledge, right? Unlimited knowledge. There's nothing separate from what you. I'm sorry, knowledge. I said knowledge, power, and bliss. Sorry, Ananda. Ananda, my bad. Ananda, bliss. So that feeling of, like why everyone really does at some point, try out drugs or try to get addicted to them or whatever. And it's not, it's very much within the human experience because, one of the aspects that we're missing is unlimited bliss and it's indescribable. It you go unconscious. It's not, there's no way to describe it. There's just only a desire to want it. You know what I mean? Like, and nothing here quenches any part of that thirst for that aspect of God. None of them, right? You're limited in your power here, what you could do. You like, like everything. You got to hunt for money, blah blah. Got to eat. That's all. You're limited here. But in the God state, you're experiencing that unlimited God consciousness while you're here. Which doesn't. And so that's why it almost never happens in a physical body because it's a combination of a consciousness which is unlimited in this physical reality of it's limited, right? It's finite. The infinite and the finite are combined in one, and it almost never happens when someone stays alive because you're not supposed to. And that's why. And because you can't, you like win the game, you go to the other, oh, I'm back in the state of God, like, yay, it worked, and there can never, because now the original state of God is, oh, I don't know, I don't know myself, but now you're like, okay, don't send me back to earth. You know what I mean? Like, what the cage is 100%, right? You know, and so you're aware of that. You're not like, and so you're off in this land of bliss of being combined with God and so on. And when you're with God, the only thing in God's presence, the only reaction, the only all pervading reaction, which blocks out all other anything, it blocks everything, is just a desire to serve God. So that's why it's not, you know, you're connected with God, but those that have achieved the God state, like Mir Baba, Jesus, those individualized consciousnesses that achieved full consciousness and came back to God, they didn't lose their consciousness. They still have it. And so you're combined with them, with God. You see, and that's why, you know, for me, it's, yeah, I'm not Jesus, you know what I mean? This is John or whatever, but uh my consciousness is not separate from him or Muhammad or Krishna, or you see what I'm saying? Like, there's a way to just have a desire to, oh, well, what did Jesus mean by this? What was Krishna? You have access to uh most of that information if you're trying to help others, because that's why you get sent back, right? Try to help others. Hey, this is what we're trying to get done here, uh so it's combining the finite with the infinite. So um that's what Mir Baba was talking about there. Like, yes, Jesus is the Son of God, but each individualized drop is a part of the ocean. Each, God is the all-pervading consciousness, and then these drops of the ocean happen to achieve this individualized consciousness of being in the cage, right, like a parrot, and it gets sent back to God ultimately after the cake is baked in the oven here in the dome. Off you go, seventh plane. You meet with God, and your consciousness is no longer separate. You don't have there's no separation. You don't experience that anymore. You experience it. You experience going back into the body. You're not, that combined with not it's like absolutely being in the worst kind of cage. You know what I mean? Because now you know what you are, and now you're in the cage. You're like, you fully know what you miss. So it's the worst. That's why they say, the perfect masters suffer for humanity. They come back in, and because if you don't know really what's going on the other side, you don't know what you're missing. It's like, no, you don't know it, the devil can't turn me, or no, nothing. How could you people don't know? That's the only problem. You haven't met with God, so you don't know. Me, I did, so no way. That's the devil's come up to me. Hey, it just as a, you know, I guess a perfunction, like this is we have to do this now that you're back from God. Just checking you. Hey, do you want the kingdom of the earth and hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever you want? No. Could you get me? Hey, could you get me back over there though? Because I lost desire for everything here. So, had you come to me and asked me that, I would have taken your cash X amount of time ago, right? But now it's like, is that a joke, dude? Yeah, like, yeah, and could you send whoever could get me back to where I just come from, please? And could you just stop talking and go away, actually, go away. You know what? If you don't have anything to just say, how do you get back there? Get out of my face, because you're like, you just want to go back to that. This is a joke, this is hell, right? There's 1,000 years of peace. Uh, and then the God unleashes the devil on humanity. That's now. The devil's unleashed, right? 64 years. One day of peace, 1,000 years in the ether. We get one day off. 64 more. Pow. Mayor Baba said that even, you see, the angels, how do I explain this? I wrote bad notes on this. So these drops of the OSHA, right? This individualized consciousness. It starts off. Oh, yeah, Mary. Okay, so it has this individualized consciousness. Boom. It's an angel or whatever. What? Because in God's presence, right? You just follow orders. You're not. You have no other desire than just to follow orders. An angel is under orders as created by God. It's not like angel didn't create itself. So God created an angel for a purpose, right? Follow my orders and do what I say. But at some point, that angel is going to starts to get consciousness instead of just a robot taking orders, right? It's just a robot. Yes, God, no God, kill them, dude, whatever. And so at some point this angel starts to you know think it knows something or whatever, like, oh, whoa, you know what, maybe there's right and wrong. Like, see, you gotta think, right? See, these angels, these fallen angels, all them, there's 7,000 humans here. We're in the New Testament. Them angels, the rest of them, they got to get to the New Testament and fall under that law, but they don't. They follow the Old Testament, right? The shall nots, the liars, the lice, liars, the lice, like head lice, like, hey, your head, the lice, right? And right, lice, right? The father of lies, Beelzebub. They turn into flies. See, they're like lice. They're like a maggot, and they turn into a fly. We're like caterpillar turns into a butterfly. You see, and they're ruled by Beelzebub, the ruler of the flies. That's what they are. So anyway. So they're not destined to come back. I'm sorry, they're not destined to get this consciousness this go round. They're destined to do other things. There are different, steps on the way here. But there's 7 planes Bear Mama talks about, and Christ consciousness is the 7th plane. And even Gabriel, the angel, can't go past the 6th plane. In other words, all the angels are in here. You see what I'm saying? All the angels and the devils are in here, holding each other in balance. And so that's a constant, this egg is constantly in balance. And all these other eggs that are out there that you see out there, all these eggs, when something leaves this egg, like I'm leaving, something else will come from one of those other eggs, right? Non physical, come into this egg and then achieve like bottom status in the angels. Oh, follow orders. It has to go through all the, after come through all the animal, physical, then it comes up to, you know, so somebody has to get out on the top because this place is always in They say it's always out of balance, but it's always in balance here. There are more animals, you know what I mean, in the beginning of time, but now there are more people, right? So that's just there's that consciousness. There for other forms exists. Like uh you can think of it like Mirababa was once asked, "Oh, what happens if a species disappears?" You know what I mean? Uh let's say, because you have to go through all the forms. It's like, oh, it'll get picked up by another form. Don't worry about that. And you got to think about that. What happens if the forms start? He didn't say this, but if you got by the similar principle, during the time loop, right? And you get in here. Oh my God, this place is like paradise. And when I was a small child, all the rivers were teeming with fish. All the trees were gigantic. It's like so beautiful. Paradise. And then the nature of the beast comes in here and follows orders and just rapes the place. Like it's the nature of it. So here they are in the Old Testament. They're given the Old Testament rules. Why? Because they've just come through all these forms, the animal forms, and they're like animals. You see, shall not kill. Shall not is a double negative, so you worship the devil. But do what you're told. You'll do what you're told. You'll trick those humans. You'll be evil to you. Why? Because this is the game. This is who you are. This is our tribe. You're angel. You do what God says. You do what you're told. And then you do something like, oh, kill this child or whatever. It gets karma based. God knows who dies and lives and whatever everybody needs. How can you or I know? And so the angel's like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? And that's when individualized consciousness really actually begins to occur. Then, really, you know what I mean? With connected to a sense of right and wrong for the first time. Your individualized consciousness rebels in some order from God, and it's like, man, I go do what? I can't. You know what I mean? Then you're falling. Pow. You got to work your way back up to knowing that God knows everything and you know nothing. Okay. And then if you finally get there, you know what I mean, and really understand this whole thing, and consciousness is never lost. So what if a child loses a body? You know, that's not the end of anything. You really start to understand. So then you followed orders, you can be trusted like the devil. Then besides the agent of God, Christ, who's the top servant of God in here, the devil, right? We need an adversary. I don't, but I did. That's how the game is played. It's not, there's no way around it. Everyone has to do this. So, but they're like animals. They just come through the animal form. They're like, don't kill, don't murder. And they're like, oh, dude, no. And some are, a whole bunch of them are still shapeshifters and so on. They have the power of miracles, so many. As just to make this place operate and make the whole thing hidden and give us each an even fair game to play where they never say what's going on. It has to be figured out. By whom? By Christ, the first one to figure out the game. And everybody goes, what? You say what? It's like, my daughter, uh, she's like, oh, let me help you out with the videos and stuff. And looked at the videos on the shelves. She's like, have a look. Everyone, it's so far from what we've been told, reality. And she's smart. Don't, I'm saying we all have this experience of, reality. And we're like, wait a second, I was told a whole lot of different stuff. And what you're saying makes sense. So this is starting to freak me out. That's a normal reaction, but one individual beats the game first and achieves this consciousness of knowing everything somehow, but where did you get it? Nobody wrote it down or anything. So how do you know this? Who told you? I used to get that. I'm like, I just know because I met with God and I know like you're going to know way you have it happen to you. Because that's why life is happening. There's no other reason for existence than this reason. There's nothing else that's gonna. Everything else that's happening is an illusion to achieve this consciousness. Oh, I went back to God and I'm not separate from God. And you realize, wait a second, I was never. So how could I have been separate from God? Oh, you're having an experience that you were separated from God. That, of course, God made you experience. This whole, uh, because it's a process. That God is trying to uh, understand self. And if there's nothing separate from you, there's nowhere to look at what you are. There's no way, you're looking for a mirror, and that's what happened. God's looking for a mirror. Oh, wait, that's not me, but that looks like me. Wait a second, so you get to know yourself and what you truly are by going through this entire process and then achieving all everyone always does. Oh, I'm one with God, a loving God, all these things that are truly us, because we come into this evil game of debt and everything's scarce, and that's not God. How could anything? God is unlimited, so we're experiencing the scarcity of time, scarcity of money, resources. You can never get anything done, right? Everything's impossible. The whole way through, everything is impossible. The whole way through, you try to just send an email. It's like, oh, thanks for interrupting. Okay, oops, I spilled that. Half hour later, you're like, what was I trying to write in this freaking email? Life is impossible. The whole process, and then you're like, okay, I need food. Like, there's never enough time to achieve something easily, that you're actually doing. Okay, I did that. Let me, no, it's everything is impossible. You can never achieve perfection in your daily actions because there's no time to do it. Oh, I want to build the perfect house. Well, what does that mean? Where are you? Well, you know what I mean? If you begin to think like that, oh, that's 100 lifetimes. Like, that's not. We're not here to master this physical reality in a certain way, and then that no, you reject this reality. You go, you know what, hey, if there's really a God, get me out of here. This is obviously hell. This is a state where we're limited. How could this not be the hell state? If you're an unlimited being, if you are, and now you're experiencing you're not, wouldn't this be hell? Oh, this sucks. It's like, this isn't me at all. And yet everyone is experiencing that. So it's like, well, for this reason, you see, to have this Christ consciousness. So Holy Spirit is Gabriel, the top angel, the messenger of God, who gives the messages from God, the unlimited, outside the dome, right outside the sphere, through this messenger that's in here. I'm God's messenger, so I hear perfectly. And then sends the messages to us, the drops. Like, and then the Son is, whoever is receiving God's grace. It's an automatic event the way God set up the game. You see, it's automatic. It's not like one son or daughter is more favored by God. No, God loves everyone equally. There's no, I'm not more loved than you by God. No, we're treated fairly, meaning we're given the same amount of difficulty spiritually and so on to go through this game, because God wants the same maximum level of Christ consciousness. Like, you have to show yourself worthy of God's grace. Then it becomes an automatic event based on God's guidelines. You see, it's set up fairly for everyone that achieves this. So that's how it happens. And every time this game happens, the one who gets it first, that's who gets Christ conscious. So you're first, you get it, and so that doesn't mean others can't achieve that. No, like, Jesus Christ, right? That other guy's name, he didn't even give a name. He was just given the title Krishna, right? Means Christ. So, and did anybody give me the title? I'm just saying this is what happens, and I have it, and it's not a, it's not like a title, Like, I know YouTube Illuminati 67666 or whatever follows me and communicates with me more than any other, individual on this channel. Like, obviously, straight up, he's like, you're misspelling Jin. It's DJINN. I'm like, oh my god, you know, yeah. that guy, right? Like, asked me the other day in a comment, last comment I got actually was, what title do you want to go by? Pastor or minister? I'm like, so clever. You know what I mean? They're always testing us. They're always testing to see if there's an ego still left in there. You know what I mean? What title do you want? It's like, oh man, that is freaking you. You know what I mean? Like, this is their top charismatic tester over there in the ether testing me. Hey, come for it, And my answer was titles are for books, right? Give me a you ain't get that you think you're gonna that little hook is gonna get me. No, I don't what get out of go for the basics. So no, you know what I mean? Go for the basics. Like it's important. Yeah, your ego's still, rolling around up in there. And so what happens at that event is the event of Christ consciousness, the experience. It's like, you're water boiling, the water boils and it turns to steam. You go over to the other side. And what happens then is Bear Baba, of course, explains it perfectly. Like your ego, right, which you absolutely need, right? Because you're going through all these individual forms and stuff like that. I'm a pony, I'm a fish, I'm a bird, you know what I mean? Like you're fighting for survival on purpose because God created the game like that. You're trying fighting for everyone else to just eat something or live, a whole way through. So your ego is like me, my. You're just programmed to try and exist, right? And so, you know, at the end, right, you're like, get me out of this existence. This isn't me. Get me out of here, And you're like, no. Right at that point, you achieve, uh, your ego has done its job at that point, right? Your ego that got you through all these wars, that got you to here and fought hard and, the one that say now they're all lying, like the whole population. Yeah, you're cool. Let them call you crazy. You're still cool. You the one that had ego enough to get you through that. You know what I mean? A lot, man. You had to really believe in yourself and God, and then they'd come to know God. But you needed that ego. You follow me? And so achieving Christ consciousness is the removal of that ego. It's removed, which is a hard thing to see or anything like that, but it's removed and replaced with the universal mind. Literally. For me, the experience was God removes your heart and puts in the heart with the thorns around it. Jesus puts it in my heart. Like boom, here. That was part of the experience. Oh, that thing he's like that thing don't work anymore. Like we broke that. We broke your heart. So that has to go, like could crack it, like your heart just rebels against this. It's like, no, this isn't me. And so yeah, that's not you. Let's get rid of that thing. And they put the proper heart in there that they can somehow withstand living in this body in this limited situation here, which is just, well, every second feels interminable, because you come, you know what God is. You're like, no, just wait, why am I here? That's just, well, don't you love me? I thought you loved me, but it's a game that it, it's fixed, it's predetermined. Every soul has to go through it because it would, if you did it, it would end up like I've been trying to hack. Let me tell you, the thing about the perfect master, anyone who achieves Christ consciousness is you and still stays in the body. All the suffering, all human suffering, you feel all of it. All of it. And so the most suffering I feel is everyone homeless in the street and trying to take these drugs to achieve not being here in this body and get back to the original state of God. They're trying to hack the system. It can't be done that way, but I understand why you're doing it, 100%. I'm not, how could you not want to do that? Like, it doesn't make sense to not want to achieve that state of God. That's our original state. It's bliss. It's unlimited. Like, these illusory methods to get there, though, are simply things that stop you. Like, I understand the desire that exists in people to do that. Yes, it's created by God in there to ultimately, it can't be hacked that way. Like, I was trying to hack, oh, you don't have to sign the trust. And see, people that sign the trust and they use the methods and they be foreclosure, the home doesn't get seized. If you don't sign the trust, they seize the home. I try to get around that because of all the suffering going on, having experienced it myself being homeless, like for many years, like the suffering is too vast, but that suffering is what everyone must go through to achieve Christ consciousness in the end. That suffering where you basically realize that civilization has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, and only God does. Do you really see the truth? So there is no way. I can't hack the system and get around that suffering. I have absolutely put years into it, but it is unfair as God designed the game to remove that suffering from people. And although I feel it all, I cannot remove it. Like it cannot be removed. It has to be gone through. And only through that suffering, only through experiencing this illusion of reality, can then you, in the end, be worthy of the automatic God's grace that's given to those who are like, get me out of here. You know what I mean? That it's just like, okay, fine, they give me death. That if you can't kill yourself with drugs or another way, that just really, what happens is push a dog into a corner is so long, you know what I'm saying? And it'll eventually turn around and bite you. And that's what happens. The God wants to push you into a corner so bad you turn around and bite the hand that feeds you. Like, get me out of this kennel. I am not an animal. Kill me then. You know? Kill me means nothing to my existence. You're treating me like an animal that you own, right? The bankers and this whole system is just treating us like they own us as their animals, not even as human, just simply animals. And that is the way they treat us. So they obviously think that about us. You see, when God said they wouldn't kneel, right? No, we're better than them. We're better than the humans. We won't serve them. God said, yeah, you will. You'll be in the dome, so you'll be in there until you serve them. So yes, you will. Yes, you will. I say you would, and so that's what you're doing. And in fact, you're good at because that's what you're going to be is them. You see, you're actually in a position where you have to get there to human status, and only then do you win. So isn't that serving yourself? You see, and that's the only way is when someone achieves that Christ consciousness again, where another consciousness gets to come in. Oh, you get to go permanently back to God. You don't have to come back into this game, right? I'm not Jesus, right? You know, only I, right? I'm not. Right? Hey, Valeria. Everyone that came here, right? There's so few. I would begin thinking today, I was like, isn't it funny that that like Mir Baba says he has circles of 12 beating down the plains or whatever, as far as I see. But you know, Jesus has 12 disciples or something. Like, there's a pretty big population, and the disciples, almost to an individual, right? They all deny him except for one in the end is ordered to deny him, right? Peter is it? He's like, you're gonna deny me. He's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. He's like, no, I'm giving you an impossible order. I am Jesus. You're going to deny me. He's like, no, I'm not. He said, no, let me try it again. You are going to deny. He's like, no, I'm not. Like, no, I'm giving you an order. You are going to do what I say. You're going to do it. He's like, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. And he did it, right? Because even he who can't be turned, right? God can send anything, and you will do what God says because your will is God's will. Until you get to the place where you blame everything on God, you have no understanding of reality. You don't understand anything. You have to blame everything on God and forgive God ultimately, not just the God shadow, the devil, but God who sent you here. Like, how did you get here, devil? You're just running some things, not the important things. Get me out of here. So, that's not you. So, right? So how did you get here? You're nobody. How do I get out of here? That's all that matters. Who got me out of here? Get me out of here again. Like, get me out of here. And so someone wins a game, gets this consciousness, and shares it with, the fellow beings in here. Like, I came back, I was like, oh my God, everybody, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's like, you're crazy, dude. Oh, you think? Let me tell you some other stuff for a decade then. How about them apples? At a time, and so on. No one knows these things. And other people will ultimately rebel against this illusion, be like, no, I've had enough, sorry. And will a super small amount of them achieve Christ consciousness where they are like, no, what I mean? No, 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 no. Give me God or give me nothing, really. I'll take nothing or give me God. And they somehow get to that place where, you know, they accept the truth and they lay down their life time and time and time and time again for their brothers and sisters to see reality that we can't be killed, right? We get eternal life, everything's cool, and God is watching over us. It's like, and after being through the illusion where you rejected everything, you're like, wait a second, is this place okay now? You know what I mean? Like, wait, what? And then they're more evil because you start to realize, wait, I got some ridiculous unlimited power here now. They're like, no, you don't. And they start to be meaner and meaner and meaner to you. And you're like, wait a second, back off, And then they start to get afraid of you when you start to react to them. And God, God, it really stormy right now. The God gets your back, right? Out there in the land of the fake laws and the lawless evildoers, right out of darkness comes light. The you know, we out of darkness light. Yeah, you will one day quit doing your darkness and come and take this position. That's right. Give it up over there. The dark. No, you're idiots. What are you doing? Out of darkness, man. Just say no and just go to the light. Out of dark, yeah, you right. Don't do the dark things anymore. You see, it's on you. Don't do it. Out of yeah, but I'm Jewish. It's, yeah, but stop. You see what I'm saying? Your darkness turns to light. Stop. That's why I already said. I already said Judgment Day is happening, right? Right? No, it sorry. They all know, they all knew, right? Yeah, sorry. Had enough. You're on Judge Habit. So now what are you gonna do? Right? You could have been whatever. You could have said no the whole way through. Could have been like, no, I don't have to be evil to the humans. They seem fine to me. No, you could have done that, and that, but you didn't. So that's what determines whether it's your turn or not. Yeah, you serve the humans, but you're like, no, I'm not going to do that evil thing to him. In fact, I might, try and help him wake him up. You're going to get demoted back to human for that, and then you play the game. If you're really able to achieve that success in a human and get me here, like, the perfect master that's, here, the Baba chose to run this game, got me here. I pray for him that he never comes back. Oh man, that's all I do. But hey, he got me here. Like he got me here. You made him get me here. He can't come back. No. Hey, even if I have to come back, he don't come back. No, 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 no. No. He got me here. Don't he has to leave. He must go. No, he please let him go. Perfect sermon. Never told me a word of this. Not one word. No, not a single. Never alluded. Nothing. And yet here I am. Never told me, but did what he said. Can you imagine? Coming in the beginning and then having to be silent the whole way through and not tell whomever, but get them there. It's the level of difficulty where you try and think like, how did Bear Mama never take a pen and put it to paper or typewriter or nothing and wrote these books? You know what I mean? It's like where YouTube Illuminati 666 writes on my things on my, up to question 22. Next time he writes back to me, I'm like 23. Same 23 third time I'll be asking the same exact question. How do jinn make words appear in YouTube or any social media? How do you do it? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have a body. Like, just tell us about yourself. And he never, he, she, it, whatever, it never breaks ranks. It never tells me, you know what I mean? Like, if it knows whether I know at that moment, I'm just trying to have it reveal. I'm giving it an opportunity to go one side or the other. You want to come to the truth and come be a human next time? You want to speak the truth, right? Because it get promoted to being human. No, they never go for that. That scares them. No way. Then I have to go back to that fly dude, right? Beelzebub, and that's bad. Like, yeah, but that's your adversary until you overcome it. So get on with it. You see, you come on over, cross the line. No matter what the devil said, once you cross the line, it can't touch. Even though it said it could, it can't. So come on over. What are you waiting for? They're like, no. Okay. You see how it's for the so few, even when you cross the line, almost everyone jumps back. Whoosh! Right? Because they haven't what? They haven't experienced God. They haven't, received the actual interaction, the experience of meeting with God. And I have. Like it's not given, you know, before you want to go to the death. No, no, it's given way after. You're just absolutely want to vomit this place into non-existence. Just get it. This place wants to make you want to throw up the whole time. It's like you experience each plane as you go. You're like, oh, I got closer to God. And then you're like, I'm back. Every time. And then in the end, it's like, I mean, what can I do? I come back here, no one listens. I mean, a few people listen to me. Like I'm saying, 12 max, most of who I've been stabbed in the back so many times, it's unbelievable. Nobody been stabbed in the back more than I have. Whole family, everyone that's taken my copyrighted work has started a new school, started a new that. No one's been stabbed in the back more publicly than I have been. That's a human, absolutely no human. And I documented my whole existence, on YouTube for a decade. Come on, this day, that day, my whole consciousness advancement for everyone to witness, including still ongoing. Because their mama said the perfect masters are the accumulators of knowledge. The accumulators, they accumulate it as they live. Why? Because others have questions that are in a spiritually less aware of their God state, of their God connection state. They're less aware of it, so they have questions. So they ask questions. So you're given the truth. Oh, answer. And they, oh, you ask the right question there. You inch a little closer to where I go. And then, I get kicked out from the pressure below, out of the stream, right? A stream of consciousness, that river coming back to the ocean. The stream is flowing back to God, right? That's us, the drop. It's a river, the stream of consciousness, right? It's flowing back to the mighty ocean of God. The stream is coming back to God. It's experiencing itself as a raindrop. What am I doing in the air? It's the stream. What am I? I'm a stream. What's that? A mountain over there? What's going on? What's? Oh, it hit the land. Oh shit! I'm a plant now. Now, you know, that's what you're experiencing. So, but this is all to arrive at that end state and that experience, and then no more reincarnation as anything. you know, I, it, it's it's a very unusual, uh, hard to describe state, because in a way you're sort of nostalgic because you're like, this is so weird. Like, you're not nostalgic to take another lifetime in a way, but you're nostalgic in the way that you can't believe that God created such a level of detail for your consciousness to achieve what it achieves. Like God loves you, somehow. Meaning God loves Himself, like God is love, and showing you that that's the nature of God. It's not a not loving God. That's the not that's not God. But God has a true understanding that you will never die. Ultimately, your consciousness will never be lost. But the experience of going through birth and death is part of this process. So it's not seen as God as good or bad, just part of the process. Like eating or sleeping or taking a shower. Or it's not. None of it's different. But it's ingrained into those follow ones and death, birthdays, blah, 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 hiding the whole thing. So you got to overcome that. And if it's they're all lying. They're telling a script which isn't true, so they're idiots or they're liars, one of the two. And all you're in, again, does that matter if they're lying? No. Or if they're stupid? Not really. Not really. You just know, no thanks to either crew, right? I don't want to be one of the stupid ones. I can't go back, right? I can't go be in the blue pill or go back to one of you ocean, like, just floating around. Bloop, 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 bloop. No, it's all true. We are on a ball. They told me so. Why would they lie? Yeah, no, just how could you go back there once you know the truth? It's like, man, put me, there's a nostalgia the way when you're young, your body is it does more things. You know what I mean? Like, it's a pain when you're young because like it doesn't work properly. But you remember it with nostalgia. Like, oh, I remember when my knees didn't hurt or whatever. You know what I mean? You're nostalgic about that past. I remember when, because at the beginning of the time loop, it's like, man, there were so many more everything. Like there were more chipmunks, there were more birds, there were more, where are the animals? When the beasts are now around you in human form. They're just saying them out in here. End of the time loop, that's when somebody's really leaving. So uh Judgment Day, like they say, oh, you can't knock me out of here now. Hey, oh, it ain't Judgment Day yet. It's like, yeah, right. you know, like you're going. You ain't leaving. You maybe leave for the day. And you'll be back. There's a quote. Oh, my wife kind of really sent me a Bible quote today. It was good. It's from the Old Testament. Uh, Jerome or I don't know, Jer, and this is 31:17. I don't even know who Jer is, to be honest with you. That book of the Bible, I really don't. So it must be Old Testament. This is a quote: "There is hope for your future, comma, says the Lord, and your children shall come back to their own country." Yeah, there's hope for you, even though you will be interminably playing the same character in the same place, in the same country, in the same. Yeah, there's hope for you. Just not in doing that, obviously, because that doesn't sound very hopeful to me. You'll be the same character forever. Great. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, no, you get a house. Don't worry, you got everything for you. Like, forever? Yeah. Could I change? Well, maybe if you do some things, might change you after a million lifetimes or something. It's like, that's not me. I'm like, I'm a bad slave, so I can't. I'm gonna have to say no to that. Sorry. Anyway, so just a process that we're all engaged in that fewer, if anyone, is talking about. Um, they got to make the place worse before they make it better, kind of deal, right? Out of darkness, light. So end times are coming. Things are going to get worse. They're going to be like, some trouble at the Ponzi scheme, right? Trying to shut down. Well, we're going to have to do some things more publicly about faking money and stuff, and propping up countries and companies and stuff. So, well, you start to see through the whole thing a little bit as we do it slowly and, destroy the earth, because that's our job, is kind of destroying this place that's really nice that God made. You're like, oh, yeah, that's. you. That's their job. Well, wouldn't you want to get out of that job at some point? No, we're serving God. It's like, yeah, but aren't you just wrecking everyone's lives? Yes. It's like, don't you want to move on and have to have your life wrecked and then leave? That's where I am. Right? They just come and wreck your life forever. They're just like, blah, blah, blah. You're like, not on a ball. You're crazy. You know, it's funny. I had this experience last Sunday. It's one of these top Illuminati. They call them the jesters, and part of the Freemasons, right? The top ones always wear spiral, the psychedelic stuff, easy to spot. Older guy or whatever. Uh, he's like, when it was, maybe 10 years ago or stuff, I'm hanging out with a festival crew, so I get some of the word out and be able to speak to them, but they don't want to hear a word. What I have to say is what I learned. He's like, oh man, I got this. He lives near me somewhere here, and he has a place in Costa Rica, so obviously one of them. And has you if you could only hear these routines that he has, they're crafted over millions of lifetimes. It's unbelievable. Uh, it goes like this. Uh, we're not in the end of our life. We're in the crescendo of our life. He has these things that that's all he does is go around in the crowd and say this stuff and talk about the ball, or you're in the, or, it's just, anyway. So I'm coming up to Siesta Key, and there's a spot with the overhang of bathrooms, and everybody's chilling. The drum circle's out on the sand, and he's sitting there. He's not usually there on Sunday, and he's like, "Oh, hey man." I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" And wait, how you doing? What are you up to? And he's like, "Oh, I'm just here for the circle. I don't usually come here." It's like, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, these two are for China." I was like, two young people like in their bathing suits sitting next to him, and the stuff I've been saying about China, right? And so I was like, "Oh, from China, yeah." I said, because right before this, he says to me, he says, "I work the gate at the Envision Festival." He said, "I can get anyone in there." He's like, "Do you want to go to the festival and speak?" I was like, "I don't know, maybe." I was like, he starts telling me about the festival. He's like, "Dude, I know all about it. I know the people that actually started it and stuff like that. I remember them doing that. I met them in Asheville." And no, I was like, "Thank you for that offer." I said, "I'll think about it." And then he says, "These two people are from China to test me whether I'm going to get along with the hive down at the Envision Festival." The answer is no, I won't. Because he's like, "These people are from China." I was like, and the first thing I said to him is, "I don't believe China exists. I see no evidence that China exists." That's what I said to him. I was like, maybe that's where maybe you're with the devil, Satan, and the evils. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're from the creation point, because they say everything comes from there, right? Everything comes from this freaking place in China where everything somehow pops out of, I was like, "So what is it?" And so and one of us speaks good English, the guy does, and this like young lady speaks a little English. And I said, that's what I said to him, as like I say, what is everyone working in 3 factory jobs over there? Because let me tell you, look at everybody on the beach here. Ain't nobody working in factories. Very few people do. Some people do, but very few compared to the population of how much stuff we got on the shelves of Walmart and everything. Where's all this stuff coming from? Cars and just so much stuff. I was like, and this is what we're told in this country. I said, China. I was like, because if the government, I don't know about China, but here, this is what I tell the Chinese couple. In America, the government only lies. If they're saying China's real, we know China's not real. You see what I'm saying? And they looking at me like, I was like, I said, is China like that? I said, can you not believe a word of what their government said is the same in America? Because that's how the way it is in America. They just look at me. And he's talking to her about it. So yeah, I was like, never mind. I said, I'm out of here. So I didn't pass the test. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you could come back to the hive and speak to the hive members and be one of the cool people down in Costa Rica. We're gonna be, man. No thanks. Man, no, all you gotta do is just go along with these people are from China. Just say some, no. God, no. No thanks. God, no, no, no. Go, oh, later. Bye. You know, all you gotta do is say some, lickety split ass script ass BS that you know already. It don't have to be true. And then what? You could just be one of us, so you get what? Everything, right? Does it heaven or hell, right? They give everything to them, everything. So this place is still as heavenly as possible for them. They'll pay for nothing. They got all the homes, are on the beach, and blah blah blah. Hell for us, right? And then but we're the only ones with a chance of getting out of here. They have to come back and back and back and back and back and back. What, are you doing this on purpose? That's why it's like oil and water. It's like we like you. You see, it's a process. I'm not a duck. I'm not a fish. I'm not an alligator. I'm not a manatee. I'm not I certainly ain't one of them fallen angel, fairy, freaking. I'm not one of them. You see, because I don't have the same reaction to life that they do, right? Oh, this is cool. I want to get all the cool stuff. I don't mind lying about everything. Whatever. I get all the cool shit here. All you got to do is be mean to 7,000 and we get everything. It's like, I can't do that. Like, you could do that. But I'm going to teach you another thing. You could have a heart instead and not be evil. You could achieve that. That's what you're actually here to achieve. Don't do that anymore. Like, stop it. They're like, don't listen to him. He's crazy. Yeah. Do you hear yourself? You're an animal. Just be evil, you get everything. It's like just lie. And that's their life. You know what I mean? So that don't work for me. Like out of darkness, light, all their sayings of BS, and all their special supernatural miracle skills of playing music and no, I don't want, you know, couple of shiny beads for all of New York. You know what I mean? I'll take New York. You can have the shiny beads. Off you go. I'll take God, and you can have this nonsense. You see? Anyway, all right. I wanted to do a little bit about Christ consciousness today and sort of like break it down. It's everyone's process, and uh, don't make it take longer than it needs to because this place sucks, in my opinion. I mean, it's infinitely amazing that it exists and all that crap, you know what I mean? But, it's like, is that better though? You know what I mean? Like, if you're housed in a super max, double, quadruple, infinity super max prison, how much, thinking your prison cool is super cool can you do? You know what I mean? Like, that's not what comes to mind when you're like, man, this prison is bitching, ain't it? That's what they're doing. It's like, look at the sunset, it's like, yeah, look at the beach, look at it. Yeah, but you know, what if you turn your head up and look at the dome and see the prison roof? How does that make you feel? Because it looks the same from everywhere. So think about it. All right. Uh Only God can get us out of here, and only someone that knows, right? You have a guide, right? Oh, how do you I was hoping to get to that. I heard there's a big tree that looks cool in the forest up there. You mean 100 billion, zillion, billion, cajillion acre forest over there? They're like, yeah, you're looking for one tree? Yeah. And it has to be this special tree, and it's this great tree that you heard exists, but you don't know how to get there. Yeah. Do you know how to get there? Actually, I do. You go right down there. But don't you want the answer? You know what I mean? Like, or you want to go check the entire forest, like you could do that, or you could listen to someone that made it. See, and I don't make the game. I don't make it like, oh, no, no, no. I don't make it like You need a guide. I didn't make it like that. That's how you made. God wanted to know himself, therefore he created this reality. Yes. Is this the only reality God has created to know himself? Are there others? Well, I mean, yeah, look at all them other balls up there, in space or whatever, like God is all this creation and experiencing it like everything is human you can think of. You know what I mean? Like everything in here, a rock is like Mayor Baba said this. I'm paraphrasing or whatever, but like everything is human form here. He's very detailed about it, very makes absolute sense, like a rock is just a squeezed human form, and then you come out of the rock's face and you're maybe like first just cloud and then you get condensed to a rock and then you become like soil and then you're like become like a worm right in the soil or whatever, your 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 consciousness is downward looking to the earth, and then you become like a worm and then you're like even with the earth and then you like go through the animal states like the fish and you know uh birds and animals and mammals, but tree is in between there, right? A tree has its head in the ground, right? And like its roots are in the ground. So it's upside down, right? Into the dirt, the rock, upside down. Then the animals. Then you're coming to human. Now your head is right side up, and then, your brain is like to God. So, and they only in the final form is it like, oh, that it's the only form that can achieve Christ consciousness is a human form, is being one of the 7,000. There is no other form here that can achieve that consciousness. So you have to go through all of them and achieve that consciousness in the final form. That's the only one that allows that. So, you know what I mean? Like, this reality has all those forms. So if you experience state life as a fish, that's your reality. But same with, in the moon and what's in the sun and all this going on in these different spheres, this is the only sphere, the only one. You cannot achieve Christ consciousness in another sphere. That can't happen. All life and non-life and rocks and dust and wind and clouds and all these other things have to form consciousness and get into this form and ultimately into this consciousness, so in creation and its causes is sort of written by Mayor, attributed to Mayor Baba, is these compilations of a few important earlier, from the 30s works and so on, 1930s, mostly from Abdullah about, the nature of the universe. It's very hard to understand, they say that the top uh uh what intellectuals, the top experts, sorry, on Bear Baba, you know what I mean? In the Bear Baba world, like word parks, for example, the main one in creation is causes writes in that book, literally writes in that book. Bear Baba doesn't understand reality, so it doesn't match actual physical reality. Can you imagine writing something so heinous? You know what I mean? That you're so stupid you couldn't understand it because you don't have Christ consciousness, and then you say that God is wrong. He's right. You just don't know. I wrote him an email like, "Hey, this is how you're wrong." I did a video about it. I'm like, no, what are you talking about? God is wrong. That could get you another lifetime right there, buddy. I, I don't know much about God, but I know one thing for sure. And they're trying to achieve that another lifetime. The Mandalay all say, and it's on tape and stuff like that. They don't want to achieve Christ consciousness. They want to come back and serve God. And that's actually all of them, not just the Mandalay. They don't want to achieve Christ consciousness, so they're not given the human form and they come back. Now, God is to blame for that, not them, because they haven't, obviously, they're so. What is stupid idea? You're serving a God, Bear Baba. You just want to come back and serve him. And your God says the only thing that's worth doing in this entire lifetime is achieving Christ consciousness, not serving him. achieving Christ consciousness, and they don't go for that. They don't go, oh, how can I do that? I want to do that. They go, we just want to serve you. That's what I'm saying. Do you understand? In God's presence, you cannot have another reaction to God than to serve him. You can't have another reaction. You can't have the reaction in God's presence to get Christ consciousness, to reject this whole place, because you don't reject God. You're like, I'll do whatever you say. How's that rejecting this place? You follow me? That's why he's not here in this lifetime. Obviously, he's not here because that would be everyone's reaction. Oh, let me just serve you. Let me just. That ain't my reaction. I get up here. Do I get that? No. Hell no. kill that guy. That's the first. Get murder him. That's the first reaction, right? Erase him. Destroy everything. Take everything. No. Whole place, even the devil. Hey, buddy, yeah, you stop. You ain't coming back. Heard from all of them. No, I don't want to come back. Sorry. What's wrong with you? You get everything. What? No. What's wrong with you? You follow? So it's a desire. It's a separate desire for consciousness that they just don't inherently have. They must witness and experience other, and happening to humans. And one day, someday, they grow a heart on God's clock, by watching us get abused so much. We're serving them. They see, oh, we're serving you. We have to do this. We have to perform miracles for you. We got the power of miracles. It's not like, what are you talking about? Yeah, everything's for free. And you don't want to help us. You just want to help you. But you have unlimited everything, but you can't help us too. Oh, you need a heart. You lack a heart. You don't. That's what's wrong with them. You see? That's what they are here to achieve. That's what we're here to achieve. Head and heart together. Even. Oh, this is a game. Get me out of here. That's the right heart. Not coming back. Happy birthday. Oh, they died. Hey, y'all freaks. Did they get Christ consciousness? That's all you should be asking each other. Like, I don't think they got it. I don't see any evidence of that, sadly. Nobody talks like that, I'm like, birthday? They start singing happy birthday all the damn time at the drum circle. I'm like, I look around like, your death day, you made it out. That should be the happy day, not you're back in prison, stupid. It's like the prisoners are like, hey, homie's back. What's up, homie? Chapow. It's like, are they really your friends there at the prison? Hey, welcome back to prison, buddy. Chabam. Not cool. You see? Okay, I hope that, Valerie, good question. All right, people. Sunday, I said, come on Sunday. I came on Sunday. Thanks for the feedback. Christ consciousness is the topic. Have a wonderful week. See you next week. I'll try and get some on the schedule so you know to look. Okay, put it on your schedule. All right. God loves you. Got to do this. I don't make the game or nothing like that. I just beat the game, try to help you do the same. All right. Take God's name, right? God loves you. Take God's name, Jesus Christ.